Simon says, I begin to get the feeling that Christmas is around the corner when Ma starts making sweets and the smell of burnt sugar and baking fills the house. The countdown begins and every day there is some new activity going on, like the Christmas tree lights being checked out, the wiring of the star to be fixed, or the last minute chopping of the dry fruits to be done. Then, before we know what is happening, we start our rounds of carol singing, meeting old friends and making new ones. Oh, the entire month is fun. This year, however, was different. Early in the morning on the 1st of December, my mother woke me up with awful news. I have to go to the hospital, Rita. She said worriedly. Why? I asked. Grandpa has had a terrible accident. Grandpa is my favorite person in the world, after my friend Latika. I can't tell him anything, even grumble, when I think Ma is being unfair to me. He always listens and gives me his fullest attention like I'm an adult. Simon does too, but that is different. When Grandpa began to lose his eyesight some years ago, he got himself a guide dog, a trained German shepherd, and called him Simon.
Because I have to do what Simon says.
He told me when I asked him why he chose Simon. Then he told me about a game he used to play when he was a boy called Simon Says. Because of Simon, Grandpa could continue to live on his own. He could go for walks and even do some shopping now and then when he wanted to surprise us with gifts. Simon led Grandpa straight into the path of a car and he was badly injured. My mother said that evening. He was awake when I went, but he just kept calling out Simon's name. Ma had brought Simon back to our place, but he just moped around the house, barely eating or drinking. It was as if he knew he was responsible for Grandpa's condition. That night, Simon didn't sleep at all, and after that, he just got worse. I took him out for walks, talked to him, and told him we are praying for Grandpa's recovery. It was a couple of days later, when I returned from school, that I made the discovery. Simon was sitting on the porch in front of the mesh door, but he didn't react to the sound of the rickshaw when I got home. He did not reply to me when I called out to him. He just continued to stare straight ahead at Ma, who was in the kitchen. Simon! Simon! I called loudly. Finally, he turned his head, stood up, and trotted towards me, wagging his tail, a big doggy smiley on his face. He's deaf, Ma, I said when I walked into the kitchen. That was why he led Grandpa into the path of that vehicle. He couldn't hear it approaching. Ma stopped cooking and thought for a minute. She said, wiping her hands on a cloth. He must be almost 10 years old now, so it's possible his hearing is going. Simon still wasn't eating, and the next morning, when I took him for a walk, his legs gave away, and he sat down heavily on the grass. Ma! Ma! I shouted as I tried to lift him up. Come quick! Simon can't walk! Ma helped me pick Simon up and we took him to the vet. Simon was running a fever and was severely dehydrated. So, he was put on a drip immediately. I stayed with him until he was settled and for the next few days spent as much time as I could with him as he fought for his life. It was a week before I could visit Grandpa again. He looked so frail and weak and was bandaged all over. He looked at me as I held his hand and whispered,
Get me out of here. How is Simon?
I found it hard to speak about Simon, but he seemed to read my mind.
It will do him good to meet me. He must feel like I have deserted him.
Then Grandpa told me how much he longed to be home, how he hated being in the hospital. It took Ma 2 weeks to convince the doctors to let Grandpa come home with us. By then, Simon was back at home. When he realized that Grandpa was back too, Simon rose shakily to his feet and began to bark, almost trying to dance around, getting under our feet as we helped Grandpa get into a chair. The attendant who brought Grandpa from the hospital told me,
Keep the dog away. He'll jump on the old man and hurt him.
But Grandpa put up his hand and said hoarsely,
Simon is too smart to do that.
There were only a few days left before Christmas, and we had to look after 2 patients in the house now as we finished our preparations. But as the day passed, both made a slow, steady recovery. On Christmas Eve, I found Grandpa clicking off his mobile phone.
I thought we were pals. Why didn't you tell me how ill Simon was?
Grandpa had obviously been checking with the vet as well as talking to Ma. I didn't say anything. The next morning, after picking up the presents from below the hastily decorated Christmas tree, I found Grandpa's bed empty and Simon nowhere in sight. I was rushing out of the room to inform Ma when Grandpa walked in unsteadily from the veranda, led by Simon. Grandpa, you're able to walk again? I exclaimed. How did you do it?
I needed to get strong again for Simon. Simon says he's not ready to go yet.
Grandpa, you are playing Simon Says again. I said happily.